Guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for all your views, likes, and I've had some new subscribers, so welcome and thank you so much for hitting that button. I really appreciate it. I mean, as I've said in the video that's just uploading at the moment from the Return of the Gods, I've said quite a lot of stuff in there beside reading the book, so please do go check that out. And I'm so grateful and humbled by this whole experience. So if you would like to like, subscribe and anything like that, then please do. If you just want to watch, that's fine too. Let the Lord's will be done as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not here to be no YouTubing like famous person or, I have no desire for any of that. So whatever the Lord wills, I am perfectly happy with because he knows best. Right, we are back with the next Beyond Death's Door. So this chapter is how you will die. So obviously they're going to be talking about physical things in your body that if you neglect can, have a contribution towards death. Obviously this book was written by a doctor, so you've got a bit of that in, but in the next chapter, sorry guys, is concepts of death. So it gets into seeing is believing and strange encounters from the past and all these kind of things. So it does come away from that eventually. So bear with it if you're thinking, this is not what I thought it was going to be. So this is a quick, short chapter, I think. She says, yeah, fairly. So yeah, excuse me. Right, we are good to go. Right, chapter 3, how you will die. One of a doctor's primary concerns is to help his patients understand the most likely cause of death they will face. The illness that befell Charles, the 48-year-old mailman who apparently made a visit to hell, could also happen to any one of us at any time. Since you are vulnerable to many unexpected illnesses or accidents, haven't you wondered what will actually be the cause of your own death? Let me briefly address this subject, concentrating especially on diseases of the heart, since these are our number one killers. The number one cause. What will be most likely cause of your death? Diseases of heart and arteries kill more people than any other diseases put together. Guys, I'm sorry if you can hear my parrot, but there's nowhere I can put him that you can't hear him. He's so loud. It is the bane of our existence. Both your chance and mine of dying with such hardened artery conditions as heart attack, stroke, gangrene of the leg, or any other obstructed artery disease are much greater than dying with cancer, automobile accident, infections, or any other condition. As all I'm going to say is God forbid, because words have power. It's the fact that 1 in every 3 males past 45 years of age in the United Kingdom will have a heart attack sometime in his life. You're as old as your arteries is considered a true saying, since the longevity of man is often limited by the age and condition of these passages. If hardened arteries are eliminated from the aging process, perhaps man would once again approach the age of Methuselah. Unfortunately, life's duration is still limited by this disease process, for which few inroads into prevention have been discovered. Excuse me, guys. Woo! It's been a long morning. I'm just yawning. That's just not a good sign. I do apologise. Meanwhile, the outlook for duration of life in relation to most other diseases has progressively improved. Hardened arteries, also known as arteriosclerosis or arteriosclerosis, represent a progressive narrowing of the lumen or opening of these arteries due to the deposits of organic fat elements and calcium salts in their inner walls. These chemical elements are deposited particularly when large amounts of them are present in the bloodstream. They are chemically identical to the same materials found primarily in our rich diets. We absorb excess amounts of organic fat and mineral salts into our bloodstream, where they can be deposited into our arteries, causing them to harden. Some important terms. The material accumulated in our arteries can become so thick that it blocks the artery openings or roughens the slick, super smooth surface inside our arteries, which in turn will allow clots or stoppages to form. The reduction in channel width causes reduced blood flow to the part of the body supplied by the affected artery. Complete blockage or occlusion will result in death of that portion of the organ that is involved, especially if there is no other arteries to help supply that area. This blockage occurs frequently in the heart or brain. Should the occlusion be by a clot, it is called thrombosis. Should tissue death occur, we add the word infarction. This hardened artery process may occur anywhere in the body, causing eye infarction, so local blindness, kidney infarction, which is blood in the urine, myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack, or cerebral infarction, which is a stroke, and so on. The infarcted portion of the organ dies and turns black and blue. If struck by a hammer, the dead tissue becomes soft and mushy, but is eventually replaced by tough scar or fibrous tissue as healing takes place. Most of the body's healing is done by formation of scar tissue. Hence, we confine our heart attack patients to bed until this is infarcted. Softened area of the heart wall is replaced by scar tissue. With premature activity, the heart may be excessively exercised and form a bulge, which is an aneurysm, or worse, a blowout can occur through this softened area, like a weak place in the tyre of an automobile. Massive bleeding into the chest occurs through this ruptured hole, usually resulting in immediate death. Other complications that are often more likely to occur during this acute phase of heart attack include rhythm disturbances, shock, and actual heart failure. Since the heart wall is very thick muscle, it cannot be inadequately nourished from blood it pumps. The heart, therefore, like most other organs in the body, has its own system of small pencil-sized arteries that come down over its surface like a crown or corona, hence the name coronary arteries. As already mentioned, any branch of these coronary arteries may become hardened and narrowed from fat and calcium deposits that thicken the inner lining of the artery, reducing its opening and roughening its smooth inner surface. Too much exercise, increasing the heart rate beyond the blood transport capabilities of the narrowed artery, creates a sensation of tightness in the mid-chest called angina. Should this roughened artery surface become blocked or occluded, a heart attack results, causing a severe persistent tightness or squeezing. Discomfort in the middle of the chest that the patient usually described as indigestion rather than pain. The pain is almost never located in the left chest or over the heart itself and is never sharp, contrary to popular belief. Strangely enough, the most heart attacks occur while the victim is at rest. The degree of hardened artery involvement can be visualized relatively painlessly by means of a study called coronary catheterization. This involves the introduction of a small hollow tube, which is a catheter, into the leg, so in the femoral artery in front of the groin, or into the arm, brachial artery in front of the elbow, through a needle placed in the artery. The tube is introduced and painlessly advanced within the arteries to a level where the special coronary arteries originate to supply the heart wall. Since all arteries are ordinarily invisible in X-rays, special solutions are injected through the catheter into the coronary arteries to make them visible. The coronary arteries are seen as large, smooth, worm-like structures. If they are diseased or hardened, narrowed areas appear that look as if rubber bands had been placed around them. Blood vessels almost anywhere else in the body can be visualized in like manner. Coronary catheterization is a procedure done in selected patients to determine the cause of their chest pain. It is also done in patients with disabling heart pains to determine if they would be relieved by bypass surgery. In this surgery, an extra vein is removed from somewhere in the body to serve as an artery. This vein is attached above the below and narrowed coronary artery, hence the name coronary bypass surgery. Watch your diet. Population studies suggest that national diet habits have a close correlation with the incidence of hardened arteries in each country. The United States, for instance, has a high incidence of heart attacks, strokes, and diabetic gangrene. Surpassing the United States, however, and first in the world are the Netherlands and Finland. It's interesting that during World War II, when Nazi Germany occupied the Netherlands and sent the confiscated dairy products to Germany in place of the ersatz bread, the Netherlands were no longer the leader in the hardened artery diseases. The United States was. Then, as you can imagine, the Netherlands was liberated at the end of World War II. It gradually resumes its place as the world leader in the incidence of heart attacks, strokes, and diseases caused by hardened arteries. Recently, while on lecture tour in Finland with the American College of Physicians, I became indirectly involved with the American Heart Association in an outbreak of sudden unexplained death in one of the far eastern cities of Finland called Joensuu, translated mouth of the river. It seemed that the young as well as the old people were unexpectedly dying in the streets or in their homes from episodes of heart arrest, primarily in the form of ventricular fibrillation. No apparent reason could be found, they just dropped dead. Since most of the public had not been taught emergency resuscitation, none of those who succumbed outside of the hospital areas survived. We arranged for a World Health Organization investigating team to come in after we left to try to determine if the epidemic of heart disease is related to their peculiar diet and smoking habits, the tension of being close to the Russian border, their environmental lifestyle, or some other factor. Their answer should be forthcoming. However, we know that when the hearts of these victims were extracted from the chest at autopsy, they seemed to be of normal size, but covered with fat. Multiple cross-incisions of the coronary arteries were done through this encasing fat. Softened deposits of fat narrowed the inside of the opening of arteries. These deposits in the arteries resembled ordinary toothpaste and could be removed with a thumbnail. This soft phase of early hardening of the arteries is a marked contrast to the case of advanced hardened arteries that we usually see in older people where calcification has occurred. Calcification converts the soft toothpaste to hard and irreversible eggshell disease that causes the arteries to feel hard. The softened phase of hardened arteries could conceivably represent an early and resorbable phase of disease. It seems to involve young people with an unbelievably high rate of incidence and is not just peculiar to the Netherlands and Finland, it's also found in young people in America. For instance, a revealing study was done during the Korean War involving the draft selected and most physically fit boys, and 300 of these boys who had died in the battlefields, averaging 22 years of age. Autopsies showed that this toothpaste phase of coronary involvement had already occurred in 77%. If the most physically fit soldiers had it, then so did young men at home. This means that most Americans have it too. A man doesn't suddenly, at the age of 45, become the 1 in 3 males who will eventually develop heart attacks. One does not start experiencing that exertional mid-chest squeezing pain we call angina, often foreboding a future heart attack, unless trouble has been developing long before the pain begins. Females are not exempt. Those who have passed the age of menopause have lost their immunity. As aging occurs and the ovaries cease to function, the 7-to-1 ratio of heart attacks in males compared to females equalizes. Population studies in other countries also support these findings. While visiting the Orient 7 years ago with a group of doctors from the American College of Cardiology, we asked to see the coronary care units. There were none. In place of heart disease, their primary cause of death was cancer of the stomach. Heart attacks and diseases of hardened arteries were rare. We weren't sure whether this was related to the rice diet or their Oriental ancestry. The answer came from another group of doctors doing research in Chinatown area of San Francisco. Careful records were made of the incidence of heart attacks in the immigrant first-generation Chinese. Then the incidence of heart attacks in the second and third generations of purebred Chinese were compared. The rate of heart attacks increased rapidly with the third generation showing the same high rate as those in the United States. The material deposited in hardened arteries shows the identical chemical composition of fats and minerals as found in our better food substances. This is especially true of fatty foods, seafoods and dairy products such as butter, cream, cheese, fatty meats, cooking oils, shortening, egg yolk, shrimp and lobster. Those people of affluence with sufficient income to afford a good life, if that's what it is, are most vulnerable. As might be expected, the white-collar worker is more subject to heart attacks and strokes than the ditch work digger. Whether this is a difference in physical activity or type of diet is still uncertain, although both are probably involved. Chickens seldom get heart attacks unless butter or other foods high in cholesterol is ground into their daily mash. Even the chicken's own egg yolks will do. Eventually, heart attacks will occur. If the offending fat substances, so the cholesterol and triglycerides, are removed from chicken's diet before heart attacks start to develop, then the deposits of soft toothpaste-like material in the coronary arteries seem to resorb and disappear into the bloodstream, and heart attacks no longer occur. On the other hand, the advanced eggshell phase of the hardened artery is found in most of us who are past 45 years of age has not proved to be resorbable or correctable by experimental reduction of the fat products in our diets. Hardened arteries therefore seem to be the major limiting factor for our longevity and existence, and are by far the most likely to cause of your death and mine. You've heard it millions of times, but if you're serious about living out the fullness of your years, watch out for cigarette smoking, foods high in animal fats and cholesterol, extra pounds, lack of exercise, diabetes, high blood pressure and mid-chest pain. The saying is all too familiar. It's your choice. You can pay now or pay later. Obviously, he's got a perspective of a doctor. But you know, reading your word, the word tells you that the word's life, and it actually gives you life. It's actually nourishing to your flesh and your bones, like the Bible tells you that. So, on a spiritual perspective, keep reading your Bible, of course. I'm trying to switch my diet up, to be fair, and I have been trying to do this for a long time to consume less sugar, blah, 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 blah. And some days are better than others, guys. I cannot lie. So, yeah, I'm trying to make better choices to look after the vessel that the good Lord gave me. You know, we are temples, if you think of it like that. And, you know, temples are pristine all around the world. You don't put anything in them that's not worthy enough to be in it. So, really, that's how we need to treat our bodies. So, it does apply what he's saying in a spiritual manner. So, yeah. And then, like I say, going forward, the next chapter, I think, delves more into the concepts of death. And then it says the pre-biblical era and so on and so forth. So slightly different going forward, I think, guys. So, yeah, that will be interesting. So, yes, like I said, bear with it if you're feeling like this book's not really what you signed up for. Just hang in there, guys. So it's like us. We wouldn't be Christians if we didn't put our perspective in the eyes of the Lord before anything else. He's a doctor, so he's just doing that with his medical experience and what he's learnt. But I'm sure as it goes forward, it will change into what you thought this book might be. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is a quick video this time, but hey, who wants to sit here for an hour and a half watching a video? Especially talking about death. So thank you so much, guys. Above all, if you think about death or anything like that, first seek the Lord, because you know, if you're with the Lord, you don't fear death. You have no fear, because you know it actually brings better things. So yes, get saved. Seek salvation. If you don't know how to do that, send me a message and I will gladly help. So thank you so much, and I will speak to you all soon, guys, in the next video. Thanks. Bye.